You walk up to the counter, you tap your card, 2 little beeps, and you're done. 2 seconds, and you've already forgotten it ever happened. But in those 2 seconds, a toll was paid. A tiny sliver of that purchase was quietly shaved off and handed to 2 companies you never chose, never signed a contract with, and almost never think about. And it happens on nearly every card payment, in nearly every store, in nearly every country on Earth. It sounds tiny, a fraction of a percent here, 2% there. Who could possibly care, right? Well, here's who cares. In a single recent year, businesses in just one country, the United States, paid these toll takers a record of more than $187 billion. Not to buy anything, not for a product, just to let you tap your card. And that number has ballooned by around 70% in only a few years. Here's the truly wild part. These 2 companies don't make a single thing you can hold in your hand. They don't lend you $1. They take almost no risk whatsoever. And yet, they sit among the most profitable companies on the entire planet, perched at the very center of the global economy, like a toll booth built across every road at once. This is the story of the most genius and most invisible money machine ever created. 2 names you absolutely know, running a system you have never once stopped to question. And it began, believe it or not, with one bank doing something so reckless, so insane, that it should never have worked at all. By the end of this video, you'll understand how the toll really works, why even people who pay with cash are secretly paying it, and what all of it teaches you about where real wealth actually comes from. Let's get into it. The 2 companies are Visa and Mastercard. You've seen those logos 10,000 times, on your card, on the door of every shop, glowing at the bottom of every checkout screen. They are so familiar that they've become basically invisible. And that invisibility is the whole trick. But to understand how 2 companies came to quietly tax the planet, we have to go back, way back, to a sleepy city in California, and one of the most chaotic financial experiments in history. The year is 1958. Back then, the credit card as you know it didn't really exist. If you wanted to buy something you couldn't afford that day, you ran a tab at your local store, and the shop owner kept track in a little book. Money was slow. Trust was local. There were no rails connecting it all together. A bank in California had an idea. What if they created a single card that worked at lots of different stores? One piece of plastic, accepted all over town. It was a brilliant concept, but it had a chicken and egg problem that seemed impossible to crack. No store wanted to accept a card that no customer carried, and no customer wanted to carry a card that no store accepted. So how on earth do you start? The bank's solution was absolutely bananas. They decided to skip the slow part entirely. They picked the city of Fresno, California, and they simply mailed out around 60,000 credit cards to people who never asked for them. Not applications, not offers. Live, working, ready-to-spend credit cards just dropped straight into people's mailboxes. History remembers it as the Fresno Drop. Overnight, tens of thousands of ordinary people suddenly had the power to buy now and pay later, with money that wasn't theirs yet. And predictably, chaos followed. People who had no intention of ever paying went on spending sprees. Cards were stolen out of mailboxes. Fraud exploded. The bank lost a fortune in those early days, and the whole thing teetered on the edge of disaster. But here's the thing. Underneath the mess, it worked. The chicken and egg problem was shattered. Because suddenly the city was flooded with cardholders, the stores had to accept the card. And because the stores accepted it, even more people wanted one. The loop had started spinning. And once that loop starts spinning, it almost never stops. That reckless experiment grew. Other banks copied it. The network spread from one city to many, then across the whole country, then across the world. The California bank's card eventually became known by a name designed to work in any language, anywhere on Earth: Visa. And the competing group of banks banded together to build their own rival network, which would eventually become Mastercard. Two networks, locked in a race to be everywhere. And the prize they were really racing for wasn't your love or your loyalty. It was the toll. Because here's the first thing almost everybody gets wrong about these two companies. Most people assume Visa and Mastercard are like banks, that they are the ones lending you money when you swipe, taking the risk you might not pay it back. They are not. Visa and Mastercard don't lend you a thing. When you use a credit card, it's your bank that fronts the cash and takes the risk. So what do Visa and Mastercard actually do? They own the road the money travels on. They are the network, the invisible rails connecting your bank, the store's bank, and the cash register, all firing in those two little beeps. They don't carry the goods, they don't take the loan risk, they just own the highway, and they collect a toll on every single thing that crosses it. And to see why that is the most beautiful business model ever built, you have to understand the toll itself. It has a boring official name, the interchange fee, but everyone just calls it the swipe fee. So let's slow it all the way down and watch what really happens in those 2 seconds. You buy something for $100. You tap your card. And here's the part nobody sees. The store does not receive $100. By the time the money lands in the shop's account, a slice has already been skimmed clean off the top, usually somewhere around 2%, sometimes more. So that $100 sale might really only drop about $98 into the shop's pocket. Where did the other $2 go? The biggest chunk goes to the bank that issued your card, and a smaller cut goes to the network itself, to Visa or Mastercard, purely for running the rails the payment rode across. $2 on a single purchase. It feels like absolutely nothing. And that feeling, come on, it's basically nothing, is the master key to the entire empire. Because here is the genius. Visa and Mastercard do not need your transaction to be big. They need every transaction. They take a tiny, almost weightless nibble off a coffee, off a tank of gas, off a pair of shoes, a hospital bill, a plane ticket, a weekly grocery run, billions upon billions of times a day, all over the planet. This is what's known as a toll booth business, and it is a thing of cold, brutal beauty. They don't have to guess which products will be popular. They don't have to win a single popularity contest. They don't care if you shop here or there, this brand or that one, online or in person. As long as money is moving and a card is involved, they get paid. They built a booth on the busiest road in all of human history, the flow of money itself, and they just stand there and they collect. That is how you arrive at $187 billion a year in swipe fees from a single country, not by charging a lot, by charging a little on absolutely everything. Trillions upon trillions of dollars flow across their rails every year, and they take their tiny, relentless sliver of all of it. And it's why these companies run at profit margins most industries can only fantasize about. Think about a normal business that makes a physical product. It has to pay for raw materials, factories, workers, shipping, storage, spoilage, waste. The toll booth has almost none of that. Once the network is built, once the rails are laid, every new tap is very nearly pure profit, flowing across roads that already exist and cost almost nothing to run one more time. So write this one down because it is the deepest lesson in this entire story, and we are coming back to it. The richest businesses on earth often don't sell a product at all. They own a road, and they charge rent on it forever. But now we reach the part that should genuinely make you sit up straight, the part almost nobody realizes is happening to them. You might be thinking, fine, clever, but I'll just pay with cash and dodge the whole thing. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. No card, no swipe, no fee, right? Wrong. And here's exactly why. Step into the shop owner's shoes for a second. You know that a huge share of your customers pay by card. You know that on every one of those sales, around 2% quietly vanishes into the swipe fee. That's a real, painful cost, and it's eating into a profit margin that, for many stores, is already razor thin. So what do you do about it? You don't post two different prices, one for cash and one for card. That's a hassle. And for a long time, the network's own rules made doing that genuinely difficult. So instead, you do the simplest thing in the world. You quietly nudge up your prices on everything, just enough to cover the fees. Do you see what just happened there? The cost of the swipe fee gets baked directly into the sticker price of the product itself, which means the person standing there paying with cold, hard cash is paying that higher price too. They are covering the cost of a card fee on a card they never even pulled out. This is the invisible tax. It is not printed on your receipt. There's no line item, no asterisk, no warning. But it is there, hidden inside the price of nearly everything you buy, whether you tap, swipe, or hand over cash. You have been paying it for your entire adult life, and you never saw a single cent of it leave your hand. And it gets stranger still, because that same hidden system quietly takes from one group of people and hands it straight to another. Let's talk about rewards, the points, the cash back, the airline miles, the free hotel nights, and the lounge access. We all love them. They make us feel like the credit card companies are handing us a gift, like we're somehow beating the system. So ask the obvious question, where, exactly, does the money for all those generous rewards actually come from? It comes from the swipe fees. The fancy premium cards, the ones with the lush travel points and the fat cashback, generally carry the higher swipe fees. The bank can afford to shower you with rewards precisely because it's collecting a bigger toll on everything you spend. And that toll, as we just learned, gets quietly baked into the prices that absolutely everyone pays. So follow the money to where it actually leads. Wealthier shoppers, who tend to hold the premium rewards cards, earn points that are funded by fees. Fees that are hidden inside higher prices. Prices that are paid by everyone, including people paying cash, including people with no rewards card at all, including the people who can least afford a single extra dollar. In other words, the system can quietly work like a reverse Robin Hood. It takes a little from those near the bottom and hands rewards to those near the top. That free flight you proudly earned? It was never free. Somebody, somewhere, paid for it in the price of their groceries. This isn't some shadowy conspiracy, it's just the plumbing of how the system is built. But once you can see it, you can never unsee it again. Now, the obvious question screaming in your head. If these fees are so high and the merchants hate them this much, why doesn't somebody just compete? Build a cheaper network, undercut them, force the prices down. Because of the single most powerful fortress in all of business, the network effect. Just think it through. Why does every store on Earth accept Visa and Mastercard? Because every customer carries them. And why does every customer carry them? Because every store accepts them. It is a perfect, self-reinforcing loop, the very same loop that reckless Fresno experiment kicked into motion all those decades ago. Two companies that grew so vast, so universal, that they stopped being mere businesses and quietly became infrastructure. Like the power grid, like the roads themselves. A new competitor walks straight into an impossible wall. No shopper wants a card that stores refuse to take. No store wants to accept a network that no shopper carries. So the two giants just sit there, largely unchallenged, wielding the kind of pricing power that only comes from being absolutely everywhere, all at once. Economists have a blunt little word for two companies dominating a market like this. They call it a duopoly. And the merchants have not taken it lying down. For nearly 20 years, American businesses have been locked in a colossal legal war against Visa and Mastercard, arguing these swipe fees are unfairly high and effectively fixed between them. It's one of the longest-running, largest antitrust battles in modern business history. And as recently as late 2025, the networks rolled out yet another proposed settlement, a promise to trim the fees slightly for a few short years. But the major retail and merchant groups took one look at it and tore it to shreds. They called it, in their own words, smoke and mirrors, window dressing. A deal that changes almost nothing while quietly protecting the toll booth for years to come. A judge is set to weigh the whole thing in 2026. The fight is very much still alive. And here's why that fight matters to you, even if you never read another headline about it. Because every fraction of a percent buried in those fees is sitting right now inside the price of your coffee, your rent, your car, your everything. This is not abstract corporate news happening to someone else. It's your money, quietly, every single day. So let's turn all of this into something you can actually use. Here are the real lessons hiding inside the world's most invisible money machine. Lesson 1. There is no such thing as free rewards. Cashback and points are not a gift falling from the sky. They're a partial rebate on a hidden fee that's already baked into the prices all around you. Rewards cards can genuinely still be worth using, but only if you pay your balance in full every single month and never ever carry debt. Because the moment you start carrying a balance and paying interest, the bank wins enormously, and your precious free rewards get wiped out many times over. Play the game with your eyes wide open, not as the one being quietly played. Lesson 2. Watch for the cash discount. More and more shops, especially small ones, now offer a lower price for paying cash, or tack on a surcharge for cards because they are sick of bleeding that 2%. When you spot that gap, you're looking at the swipe fee finally made visible, right there in front of you. On a big purchase, simply asking, "Is there a discount for cash?" can quietly put real money back in your pocket. Lesson 3, and this is the giant one. The lesson that can change how you see money for the rest of your life. The greatest fortunes are rarely built by selling a single product. They're built by owning a road and charging a toll on everyone who travels it. Visa and Mastercard don't care what you buy, or where, or which brand wins the day. They just take their tiny slice of the movement itself. And once you start seeing the world through this lens, you begin to spot these invisible toll booths absolutely everywhere. The platforms, the networks, the marketplaces, the quiet middlemen taking a cut of every transaction that flows past them. Understanding that single idea is the difference between standing in line to pay the toll and understanding who built the booth in the first place. Because the most powerful position in any economy isn't being the buyer, and it isn't being the seller. It's being the one who quietly owns the road they both have no choice but to travel. So the next time you tap your card and hear those two little beeps, you will know exactly what just happened. A toll was paid. An invisible tax was collected. And two of the most profitable companies in human history, born from a pile of credit cards once recklessly dumped into strangers' mailboxes, got a tiny bit richer off a purchase you never even thought about. If this changed the way you see your own money today, you already know what to do. And stick around, because next time, we're exposing how your own bank takes the money sitting quietly in your account, uses it to make billions for itself, and pays you back almost nothing in return. It is happening right now, with your money, while you sleep. And you will not believe how simple the trick really is.